So I have yet another message for both of you. I title this one, True Righteousness. And it's taken from Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 and 19. And you read about, in this passage, the engagement of Mary and Joseph. They, of course, are the future parents of Jesus. You recall that during the engagement, it is discovered that Mary is with child. And in verse 19, it says that Joseph, being a righteous man, sought to divorce Mary quietly, or to put her away quietly. Now, keep in mind, in this day and time, within Jewish culture, obviously, a man was within his rights to have such a woman publicly humiliated and even put to death for what she had done. And I can only imagine how devastated Joseph must have felt at this time. I mean, it's one thing for a friend to betray you. It's another thing, an even deeper thing, to have, I suppose, your children betray you. But I can think of no greater sorrow for a man or a woman to have to endure than to have your spouse betray you, or somebody who you are engaged to be married to betray you, somebody that you love deeply and wanted to spend the rest of your life with. And so he must have been in utter despair, and I think at the bottom of his sorrow. Now, moving forward really quickly here, you go to 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7, and this is where Paul lists the characteristics of love. And in verse 5 of 1 Corinthians 13, he says that one of those characteristics is that love does not seek or demand its own way. And when you look in Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 and 19, that's very much the way Joseph is reacting toward Mary. In other words, he's not trying to control this woman. There isn't any codependent dysfunction in the way he's trying to deal with her, because he seeks to release her quietly. And I guess this leads me to the point of this message, which is that those who are truly righteous protect and maintain the dignity of those who wound them, and in this case, wound them deeply. I mean, that is precisely what Joseph is doing, and he's doing it in such a way that he is also maintaining Mary's freedom in the midst of this. And really, when you understand Joseph from this standpoint, he is an extraordinary man. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road. You know, I've always wondered why you don't hear a whole lot about Joseph, because he more or less is, think about it, the silent person in this marriage. I mean, you read far more about Mary, far more is said about Mary than Joseph. And it hasn't really been until I've done this devotion for both of you that I think I've harped upon the primary reason for that, and that is that Joseph was a righteous man. I mean, what more, seriously, do you really need to know about a person in the long run, except that they're righteous people? Regardless of their qualifications and their vocations, this is really the single most important thing that you can know about anybody, is it not? I mean, that's what makes for good relationships. That's what makes for friendships that you can take to your grave. And I think that's the one thing, really the only thing, that we take with us. God bless you both.